Hello and thank you for tuning in, and thank you for your overwhelming response to our previous episode on the property market in the NCR region. This week we have another cracker of a show lined up for you, and as always we have the strongest lineup of experts as well. Remember, you can send in your questions to the property guide at et-now.com. It'll be our pleasure to answer your questions on this show. Over the next half hour, should you enjoy 5-star comforts in any luxury apartment, we'll give you a list of key developers in the entry-level luxury segment. We'll tell you how IT companies are driving the residential property market at Hinjewadi in Pune. And in our legal segment, we'll tell you how to check whether the project you're buying into is genuine and legal. All right, let me do a quick introduction with our guests. We have Jayashree Kurup, Head of Content and Research at Magic Bricks, who joins us from our Delhi studio. And of course, Om Ahuja, CEO of Residential Services at Jones Lang LaSalle, who joins us in Mumbai. Om, thank you for coming in. Now, the most common complaint we hear about real estate is that it's become unaffordable. Now, hearing developers quote prices of above 1.5 crore rupees has become fairly commonplace in our market. But does a swimming pool and the tag of luxury justify these prices? Well, market research tells us now that the homes priced between 1 and 3 crore rupees are most active in the country, which means they're being traded the most. So if you are one such customer and you're looking at one such home, it's important that you should know what your money should buy you. That's our focus this week. I'm going to start first with Om. Om, luxury is being used on almost everything in the market right now. For you, in your mind, and it's difficult actually to put it in a bracket because we have no regulator in the real estate market, but in your mind, what constitutes luxury?
Well, I would say luxury is a very abused word in this industry. Everybody claims that, I'm building a luxury product, but parameters of measuring luxury are at times very, very confusing. So if you look at basic parameters, where what we see is when you look at a very luxury product, what people look at is density of the project. Density means the land on which the project is being constructed and number of apartments being constructed in that land. So technically, there is no thumb rule to this, but how many people are going to stay in this complex? That's the primary criteria that people should look at is the project having more than 100 apartments in a tower? If there are multiple towers, are those towers going to cater to that swimming pool or the clubhouse, which is going to be sufficient enough for the people to stay there and use those amenities efficiently, is going to be the biggest criteria there. The second criteria is again floor to the ceiling. The height of the apartment ceiling is also a very important criteria because of ventilation, because of kind of living lifestyle which you will be living. So everybody wants to see that I want the best height I can get in the apartment. Third most important thing is common amenities. If you're looking at the elevator, if you're looking at the landing floor where you're going to come out from the elevator to your apartment, is that spacious? Is there ventilation? Many other criteria which define luxury are being completely ignored in most of the brochures, in most of the handouts which are basically given by the developers. So these are fine criteria where one needs to look before finalizing a product, because just having a swimming pool and just having a clubhouse is not going to be defining luxury.
Well, Jayashree, you look at this market very closely every day, and you know that the interesting part about luxury buildings right now is that they have a lot of party tricks being thrown in. There are automated living rooms and there are fancy kitchens. Now, do you also agree with what Om just told us? Is this the criteria we should be measuring our apartments up against?
Luxury by its very nature means exclusivity. It means access to facilities when you want it and not having to wait in a queue to access them. The second thing is that when you walk into your apartment complex, do you get the feel of luxury, which really means that you should have a little more green area. It should be very well maintained. The common areas should be really well maintained. You don't want a scruffy looking lift opening into your beautiful apartment.
So I'm going to interrupt you there. Now, the problem is when we buy these apartments, they're mostly under construction. It's very difficult then to judge whether or not it's going to, have a lot of space, or what the lift is going to feel like, or what the lobby is going to feel like. So what we normally see is the brochure that comes from the developer. How do we look at that brochure and judge whether or not he's going to give us what he promises?
Our consumers should be asking for When I get into the lobby, one, the central atrium is very important because you're looking at managed facilities, which means you have a concierge, you have some guards monitoring who's coming in and going out. So that lobby is, and atrium is very important. The second thing is that when the lift, what is the speed of the lift? Do you have a service lift? That's very important. You don't want the service people using the same lift that your guests and homeowners are using. These are all small elements of luxury which people tend to give a lot of credence to, and these are facilities that you can actually check when you are booking your apartment. The same thing, and a swimming pool does not make a luxury apartment, but the size of the swimming pool is very important. If you have a handkerchief swimming pool, that really does not make your apartment complex luxurious.
All right, so ask for details. You had something to add, and I also want to ask you about the third thing that we should keep in mind, which is the view. And again, there's no regulation that nothing will come up in front of you, but how important is location and view when looking at luxury products?
We need to look for the master plan of that area. Most of the developers typically have that master plan. We need to look at what is the distance between this project and the next project. Or what is the distance between this building or this wing or the next wing. The distance really determines that one can peep into your house or you can't peep into anybody's house. So these things are very, very simple things. You really don't need to be an expert to see these things, and one needs to get that basic clarification from the developer in terms of a plan which has been submitted to the municipal authorities for clearance of the project. That will clearly determine whether this is a real luxury product or it is a camouflaged luxury product.
All right, all of those things to keep in mind if you're considering a luxury apartment. I'm going to run that on your screen one more time so you get a quick recap. And also, if you'd like a list of properties to consider, well, we have that as well. Take a look. It's a long list of luxury projects across the country. Let's start with Bangalore. Misty Waters by Prestige, Mozaria Grandeur by Shobha Developers, and Glengate by the House of Hiranandani. In Chennai, the Aqua Lily project by Mahindra Lifescapes, Aurum Villas by Pacifica, and Greens by India Bulls. In Gurgaon, Greenopolis by 3C, Oyster Grande by the Adani Group, Golf Avenue by CHD Developers, and East Space Premier by Unitech. In Noida, Vasilia by Wave Infratech, Mirabella by Mahagun Developers, and Victory Ace by Victory Infratech. In Mumbai, Urbania by Rustomji, US Open by Nirmal Lifestyle, KUL Palladio by Kumar Builders, Runwal Pearl by the Runwal Group, and Panache by Lankhani Builders. In Pune, 24K Allura by the Kolte Patil Group, Nyathi Epitome by the Nyathi Group, and Pristine Royale by Pristine Properties. All right, time to take a few questions. Ankur has written in, he wants to buy a luxury villa in Pune with a budget of 1 to 1.5 crore rupees. He has given us a list of preferred locations. He likes Bhugaon and Parangut, and he wants to know if there's something that he can buy for the next 5 to 7 years to give him good returns. Would it be better to buy maybe a 2-bedroom apartment or a luxury villa? What would you recommend?
Well, I would say the budget, considering the budget of what he has, Parangut gives lot many options there, rightly identified options wherein one can look at Viva, which is a product where you actually own the land and also a villa. Considering the way Pune is growing, we don't see far away that Hinjewadi people will be traveling to Parangut for work. So basically from Parangut they'll be traveling to Hinjewadi, vice versa, and basically that will give them the sense of feeling that eventually what we saw, which was happening in Pune, outskirts of Pune became part of city. Now this Parangut also is nothing but it's a Powd Road, extension of Powd Road. The way I see it is the area will look very good in next few years time. We will see great upside specifically in Parangut, and products what identified are really good. It's a matter of choice. Rather than buying an apartment, if one can afford land and a villa, why not?
All right, it's time for us to take a very quick break. But if you're interested in Pune, when we come back, we'll talk about the real estate market in Hinjewadi in Pune, and we'll tell you if you should be investing in that market. Don't go anywhere.